The RV industry is in trouble, and the wreckage is piling up at the dealership level. What used to be busy showrooms and packed lots are turning into ghost towns. Some of the biggest dealership chains in the country are quietly shutting down locations, laying off staff, and slashing inventory to stay afloat. This isn't a seasonal dip. It's a full-on collapse in buyer demand, and it's forcing even the top names to retreat. Financing has become brutal. Floor plan interest is stacking month after month. Used rigs are sitting unsold, eating into already thin margins. And with customers walking away from high monthly payments and shrinking trade-in offers, dealers can't move product, new or used. The result? Closures, consolidations, and exits from entire markets. From coast to coast, these major players are trimming down fast. And if you've driven past your local RV lot lately and noticed the flags are missing or the gates are locked, you're not imagining things. In this video, I'm breaking down 10 big-name RV dealerships that are closing stores all over America. If you're in the market for a rig or wondering why your local dealer just disappeared, this is the list you need to see. Let's get into it. Camping World is the biggest name in RV retail, but even the King of the Hill is losing ground. With over 170 locations across the U.S., they were once untouchable, but cracks are showing fast. In the past year, Camping World has quietly closed or consolidated multiple stores across states like California, Oregon, and Washington. Some of these closures were announced. Others just vanished, with customers showing up to locked gates and redirected service numbers. The root issue? Overexpansion and unsold inventory. Camping World went hard during the boom years, buying up regional dealers and opening new locations to chase volume. Now that sales are down and loan approvals are tight, they're stuck carrying massive floor plan costs on rigs they can't move. Stock levels have ballooned, and the company's own earnings calls reveal declining margins and increasing pressure from rising interest expenses. Online reviews are filled with complaints about long repair delays, disappearing service departments, and communication breakdowns, symptoms of a company stretched too thin. Camping World isn't going away tomorrow, but they're clearly retreating. And if the closures continue, that flashy red and blue sign may not be as common in the next couple of years as it once was. General RV has long been a major player, known for its supercenters and nationwide footprint. But now the dealership that once boasted coast-to-coast expansion is starting to pull back. Recent reports show that General RV is scaling down new store openings and quietly closing underperforming locations in several secondary markets, especially in areas where customer demand has fallen hard. The company made its name by offering huge selection and aggressive pricing, but both are now liabilities. High inventory levels, increased carrying costs, and tight credit conditions have flipped their formula upside down. It's one thing to fill a lot with trailers when they're selling fast. It's another when rigs sit for 6 months or longer, racking up thousands in interest and storage costs. Staffing cuts and reduced service hours at some locations point to a company trying to ride out the storm by trimming fat fast. And with fewer buyers walking through the doors, even the larger supercenters are feeling the pinch. General RV isn't collapsing, but the days of aggressive expansion look to be over. Expect more closures in slow markets as they circle the wagons and try to protect their stronger performing stores. Lazydays used to be synonymous with RV retail luxury. Their Tampa flagship was a destination in itself, more like a resort than a dealership. But those glory days are fading fast. Lazydays has been shedding locations across multiple states, backing out of high-cost markets and freezing further expansion. Stock performance tells the story. Shares have plummeted over the past year as sales numbers dropped and profit margins got squeezed. The company's quarterly reports highlight falling gross revenue and rising interest on inventory, a brutal combo in today's environment. More than one Lazydays location has quietly shut down with little fanfare. Customers have reported canceled appointments, long wait times for parts, and service departments running skeleton crews. That kind of pullback points to a dealership chain trying to survive a deep market contraction. Even Lazydays' signature service approach, once their biggest selling point, is starting to slip. With online complaints stacking up from frustrated buyers and warranty customers, the brand still carries weight, but the direction is clear. Lazydays is scaling down to survive. And if the RV market keeps sliding, more of those big polished locations may go dark in the near future. Blue Dog RV came out strong in the western U.S., growing fast with multiple dealerships across Idaho, Washington, Oregon, and beyond. They carved out a reputation as a go-to regional dealer with a wide selection and no-nonsense sales approach. But lately, the blue signs are disappearing. Sources confirm that Blue Dog has closed multiple locations over the past 18 months, including stores in smaller towns that just couldn't sustain the overhead. In some cases, these closures were labeled as consolidations, but in reality, they're part of a strategic retreat in the face of shrinking buyer traffic and overbuilt lots. Dealers like Blue Dog were especially vulnerable to shifts in consumer financing. With fewer customers qualifying for loans and trade-ins dropping in value, sales volume dried up fast. And when inventory sits too long, interest costs rack up, turning a profit center into a loss overnight. Service departments have also taken a hit, with customers reporting parts delays and long lead times. Staffing cuts are part of the fallout as Blue Dog tries to stay lean. They're not out of business, but they're definitely in defense mode. Expect more quiet closures as they tighten their focus on core markets and try to ride out the storm. RV1 was once a fast-growing dealership brand with family-run roots and national ambitions. But after being acquired by RV Retailer LLC, the brand lost some of its identity, and now it's starting to lose locations. Several RV1 stores have either rebranded under the parent company or shut down altogether in recent months. Insiders say the closures are tied to underperforming markets and a broader consolidation strategy by RV Retailer, which owns dozens of different dealership names across the country. In plain terms, if a location isn't turning enough volume, it's on the chopping block. The biggest problem? RV1 was built for a volume game, high turnover, aggressive sales, and heavy financing. But now, buyers are fewer, rates are higher, and floor plan costs are killing profit margins. Add shrinking resale values, and the math just doesn't work like it used to. Dealerships in Florida, Ohio, and the Carolinas have seen staff reductions, inventory pullbacks, and in some cases, full closure. RV1 isn't gone, but it's shrinking, and fast. For a brand that once rode the edge of national growth, this retreat signals a clear shift: survival over expansion, consolidation over competition. And it's happening faster than most people realize. Bish's RV built a name on rapid growth, expanding from its Idaho roots into more than a dozen states. Known for its friendly service model and family-owned vibe, it was one of the fastest-growing independent RV dealers in the country. But now that pace has slammed into a wall. Bish's is quietly pulling back from several markets and has reportedly frozen plans for future store openings. While they've avoided public announcements, internal restructuring and staff layoffs have started to surface across various locations. Some stores in the Midwest and Great Plains are seeing reduced hours, skeleton crews, and minimal inventory. Clear signs of cost-cutting in response to slowed demand. Bish's expansion strategy leaned heavily on financing and turnover. With interest rates high and buyers backing off, that model just doesn't work anymore. Floor plan costs on unsold rigs are bleeding cash, and trade-in values have fallen far below what they were financing 2 years ago. They're still operating, but the retreat is happening. Locations once full of energy now feel hollow, and customers are starting to notice. If the market doesn't rebound soon, Bish's may have to make more tough calls to protect what's left of their high-visibility brand. Giant RV has long been a Southern California staple, operating multiple locations across the region and offering a broad mix of motorhomes and trailers. But California's shifting economic climate, high operating costs, and slowing demand have put Giant RV in a tough spot. Over the past year, they've quietly scaled back operations, shuttered at least one location, and thinned out staff at several others. California is a brutal place to run an RV dealership right now. Between increasing regulations, sky-high commercial rents, and a customer base crushed by insurance hikes and gas prices, even major players like Giant RV are feeling the squeeze. The dealership's large inventory strategy is backfiring, with unsold rigs collecting dust and interest fees stacking up by the day. Customers have reported slower service turnaround, closed service bays, and sudden appointment cancellations, signs that support teams are being stretched too thin or let go altogether. For a brand that relied heavily on volume and foot traffic, the slowdown has forced a serious rethink. Giant RV isn't gone, but it's definitely shrinking. And if the California market continues to tighten, more of their once busy locations may be next on the chopping block. McClain's RV Superstores, a longtime presence in Texas and Oklahoma, is another major dealership feeling the pressure. Known for serving southern markets with everything from entry-level trailers to luxury Class A motorhomes, McClain's has begun consolidating inventory and cutting back on operations across multiple locations. Dealers close to the network report shrinking sales floors and service departments working reduced shifts. Some satellite stores have gone dark completely, with no formal announcements, just locked gates and unanswered phones. Word from staff points to a company under financial pressure, tightening up to weather the downturn. Texas may still be truck country, but even there, the RV slowdown is real. High loan rates, expensive insurance, and falling trade-in values are turning once eager buyers into cautious window shoppers. McClain's built their model on high-volume sales, but that formula is turning into a liability. They're still in business, but the strategy is clearly changing. The family-owned feel that once gave them an edge may not be enough to carry them through this slump. As competition tightens and consumer budgets shrink, McClain's could be forced to retreat even further. Tom's Camperland was once one of Arizona's go-to RV dealerships, expanding across the state with a focus on affordable travel trailers and fifth wheels. But over the past year, multiple locations have gone quiet. Inventory has shrunk, staff has thinned, and in at least 2 cases, stores have been closed outright with little explanation. Like many regional dealers, Tom's Camperland overbuilt during the boom years, adding locations to meet soaring demand. Now with buyers pulling back and lending tighter than ever, they're stuck holding inventory that just isn't moving. That means mounting costs, storage, interest, and insurance that quickly become unsustainable. The problem is especially visible in smaller Arizona markets, where foot traffic has slowed to a crawl. Service departments have reportedly been downsized, and some customers complain of long repair delays and poor communication. These aren't just growing pains, these are warning signs of a dealership under financial strain. Tom's isn't bankrupt, but it's clearly backing away from its former reach. The aggressive growth play is over, and now it's about survival. With fewer customers walking through the door and rising costs every month, the question isn't whether more locations will close, it's how many and how soon. Travelcamp RV exploded onto the scene with bold growth across the Southeast, especially in Florida and Georgia. They promised a more modern, customer-friendly approach backed by aggressive marketing and flashy new stores. But that rapid expansion has hit a wall, and some of their locations are already going dark. Over the last year, Travelcamp has closed at least 2 locations and has scaled back staff and inventory at others. Several reports from within the company describe rising internal pressure, declining sales, and high turnover, both among employees and the rigs on the lot. Their model relied heavily on fast-moving volume and a steady stream of financing approvals. But as rates climbed and buyers backed off, the pipeline dried up. That left Travelcamp holding expensive inventory with shrinking margins and growing overhead. Service departments in some stores have been cut down to bare bones, with customers facing multi-week delays for even basic repairs. And while Travelcamp still markets aggressively online, their physical footprint is clearly shrinking. For a brand that positioned itself as a fresh face in RV retail, the market reality is catching up fast. Without a serious course correction, Travelcamp risks burning out just as quickly as it scaled up. There you have it. 10 major RV dealership chains that are closing stores, cutting staff, or quietly pulling back all across America. These aren't isolated incidents. This is a clear pattern. When the biggest names in the industry start locking doors and consolidating operations, you know the market is under serious strain. The RV world is shifting fast. Dealers are stuck with inventory they can't move, buyers can't get approved, and floor plan costs are crushing the bottom line. For some of these brands, this might be a temporary pullback, but for others, it could be the beginning of the end. If your local dealer is on this list, don't be surprised if that lot looks a little emptier the next time you drive by. And if you're planning to buy, trade in, or get service work done, do it with eyes wide open. Because the dealership landscape is changing fast, and not everyone's going to survive this shakeout. If this video gave you a clearer picture of what's happening out there, hit that like button, subscribe for more straight-shooting RV updates, and drop a comment below with what you're seeing in your area. This is real, and it's just getting started.